Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back, it's Jordan here. Today's a very exciting day because I'm going to start working on the 2023 Winter Village. Now, in order to start working on it, I need to pretty much extract all of the pieces from the 2022 Winter Village. So I need to pretty much destroy this. As you can imagine, I am having a hard time committing to doing that because I worked so hard on this village. You know what I mean? Like these cliff edges, this skating rink, the toboggan hill. This guy's still doing his big saucer jump there. We've got Santa flying over top of the village there, getting ready to deliver some presents. All sorts of cool stories. This really neat road that's built with the 1x2 dark gray slopes. All the tiled off sidewalk and the Christmas lights strung from the street lamps. I'm just having a hard time committing to taking this apart, but it just sort of has to happen. So after talking to myself about it for a while, it's time. It's time to start changing up the Winter Village. Got to start with the easiest thing when it comes to deconstruction, and that is just moving all of these little buildings, because I actually didn't tack them down to the mills plates that they sit on, so they move quite easily. Yeah, just got to pick up all these and move them over here on the open base plates where we don't have anything constructed. Oof, sounds attached to that one. Just move all these here and then I can get all the minifigures moved as well. Hopefully not break anything while I'm doing this or in the process of doing it. Now I've got to decide whether or not I want to modularize these buildings. I definitely think I'm going to modularize some of them, but maybe not all of them. We'll see. We'll see how it looks, because I don't really know what the layout of this new Winter Village is yet, or what it's going to be. So I'll have to decide once I come up with the layout, which I'll also be doing in this video. And I shouldn't be moving these sets one-handed by looking through a video camera. Probably not the best idea. Well, everybody, it was actually a pretty easy fix. Don't worry, Santa Claus, his sleigh, and the reindeer are back together, safe and sound, and ready for this year's rendition of the Winter Village. So first things first, I've got to go around and collect all of the minifigures and accessories. I was surprised by how many minifigures were found in this Winter Village. It's actually crazy. Thinking about how big this year's Winter Village is going to be, I'll probably have to try and round up some more holiday-themed minifigures, because that just makes sense. Also collecting all of the miscellaneous accessories that are scattered throughout the Winter Village, such as the vehicles, snowmen, Christmas trees, mailboxes, etc. Once that's all taken care of, it's time to start parting out all of the mills plates, which I worked, I don't even know how many hours on completing. It was crazy, you know, when you think about how many parts are packed onto those giant 48 by 48 mills plates to build everything up a brick and top it with plate, and just the amount of slopes and modified curved bricks and curved slopes, and the underlying 2x2 brick that's supporting the little hills that we have, the toboggan hill, and also the elevation for the elf clubhouse and the Santa's workshop. It's just a ton of parts. Now I know I could probably keep some of this stuff together, such as the mills plates and things like that, just to try and retailer it for the new Winter Village. But honestly, I just think it's better to take this stuff apart and start from scratch. Here we go. Yay, gray slopes. In the end, though, it is insane how quickly this came apart. What the heck? I spent so many days working on this. It's just funny how fast things like this come apart. I just can't get over it. Mind boggles me every time. Build, destroy, repeat. That's how you grow as a builder, and that's how you have fun with the bricks that you possess. I need to get into the habit of doing that more. Maybe some things in the Lego City need to be destroyed and rebuilt into something different. It's just a way that you can sort of get more value out of the Lego that you have. So here's all the parts from the Winter Village. It's actually crazy when you look at them from this perspective. Does it look like more or less parts? I don't know. But I decided not to take these cliff edges apart just because I think I'll be able to retailer these. Probably not, though. That's why I took everything apart, because sometimes retailering things is more difficult than just starting from scratch. Plus, when you try to like make this fit into a new layout, sometimes it doesn't look as good as just starting from scratch because you're trying to make something work that doesn't really work. But either way, I didn't feel like parting all of these out, so there they are. Plus we have the Wampa's home, which was just that cave with the skating rink there, and then we got all the colorful brick up here, along with the tram track and some of the road plates. There's the Wampa just hanging out. I was actually looking at the bottom of this thing. It says Lego 2009. So that guy there is from 2009. Pretty cool, hey? Got more of the rock panels. These ones were on the side there. Once again, just kept those. They sit on nice Mills plates that are 16 studs wide. All the white plate, whether it be odd shaped, 16 by 16, 8 by 6, whatever it may be. Probably got to go through there and sort it all, but I can worry about that when I actually start constructing the winter village. Then there's all the brick in here. Woo! Some of this stuff is yellow. It was like buried in the build. There's all the slopes from the road. Glad I have those because the new mountain is going to be much bigger than the existing mountain, so I can use all the parts from those, plus these slopes, plus some slopes that I have in my inventory to build a bigger mountain. There's all the white slopes. Been getting a bunch of those from Snow Trooper battle packs. All the base plates there. And we have the street lamps with the Christmas lights, some of the mini builds found throughout, also all of the Christmas trees, the tram, and then a ton of minifigures. Like, that is a ton of figures. It doesn't look like that many when it's in like a scene, but then when you put them in a bin, it's like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. Then we got some other stuff here, such as the plate that was all tiled off for the sidewalk, also some more tiles, and then once again, all of the buildings and some of the IKEA boxes, which I just realized are like the best things ever for when it comes to building elevation in any sort of diorama. Like, seriously, I didn't even know how good those products were until today. I was contemplating making a wooden structure for Santa's mountain over here. So my plan was to make a wood structure that was sort of like a 90-degree turn, and then I was going to build a cliff edge going up, have a flat spot right there for the elf clubhouse, and then another cliff edge going up, or mountain going up, I guess, and then have Santa's workshop on top. And I was thinking, you know what? I'm just going to do it with a wood structure to help save money, really, because wood structures are pretty much free. And I've built a lot of mountains, and not all of them have wood structures in them. For example, this one over here, no wood structure. It's all like honeycombed bricks under there. There's a crazy amount of parts that went into that. It's actually insane. This one over here is like a hybrid. The bottom portion of the mountain, like right here, is actually sitting on that wood structure that supports the entire raised platform. And then the upper part that has the Mountain View Observatory on top is all Lego structure. But now I realize how helpful those IKEA boxes over there are going to be. Now, I know I talked about these in a previous video, but I actually didn't demonstrate how like crazy good they are, and that's because I really didn't know. I didn't do a test. So check this out. This is 12 bricks tall. This is sitting on the base plate. That is exact height. What? That's crazy, right? It's perfect. That is insane. Then these ones over here are 6 bricks tall. So there's my pillar of 6 bricks. And this, once again, sitting loosely on top of the other one. And boom, 6 bricks tall exactly. And what's crazy cool about that? Lego rock panels, like the things that I use to create the base structure for mountains, are 6 bricks tall. Like, are you kidding me? I was gonna cut a corner and try and save costs and just use a wood structure, but now that I see that, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to use these IKEA products. So they actually come in 4 different sizes. There's the large one here, there's like a medium one that I don't have, and then there's a 3-pack where you get 1 of those and 2 of the other ones, I think. Yeah, and 2 of these. So I'm for sure gonna run out to IKEA and buy a bunch of those to build the base structure for the mountains for the winter village. Another cool thing about them is they're clean edge, right? So the mountains and the ski slope that I build is only going to be two-sided, both of them. So the ski slope will be on this side and on that side. And I was saying I want this edge here to be clean, and I want this edge to be clean as well. If I were to build that with a wood structure, I'd have to like build up the edge with bricks or with the 1x6x5 white panels, right? And then the mountain that I build over here, once again, is only going to be two-sided. So it's going to come down this side and this side. And if I use those IKEA boxes for the white structure, or for the base structure, I can have a clean edge on that side and that side. So now I pretty much need to measure how many IKEA boxes I need to get and go buy some, which is going to be, I think, fairly expensive, but definitely worth it in the end. So I have decided that I will 100% be using those. Now I know I've talked about those boxes in a video not too long ago, but I straight up did not realize how good that product is. And I just had like a really happy moment when I just figured that out, and I wanted to share it with you. Okay, so now I'm gonna clean this surface up here and start to do like a base layout for the 2023 Winter Village. Sorry about the last clip there. I think I forgot to clean my camera lens and had a big fingerprint on it. Oops, my bad. So now I had to set up a second table there. That's one of the IKEA Linden tables. Just pop some legs on it and clear essentially everything off the surface because I need a clean slate here. So moving all of the stuff that I just put over there, I may as well have set up the table to begin with, but whatever. It's all good. And the last thing that gets moved out of the way is the wood platform. Bring that out to the garage and add it to the Bricksie wood pile. Now that I've got the surface, it's time to come up with the base plate layout. Now this layout is sort of weird. I want the 48x48 plates to be aligned with each other because they're going to be mills plated, and I think that's essential just to make it sort of modular and just to please my brain, really. So I decided I have to make one modification to the plates running the long span. I actually reduced it from a 48 stud to a 32 stud. That leaves some of the gaps around the edge, but I'd rather have like some exposed table than have it overhang and not have the plates align. Now that I've got the base plate layout ready to go, it's time to start laying some stuff down to try and visualize what this place is going to look like. I went through and I found all of my road plates and started creating a road, and I also am going to use some of those cliff edges that are sort of prefab to try and make a makeshift like design for a mountain. Clearly not done, just trying to get like a basic design, a basic layout going here. But yeah, seriously, this is when this fun begins, because now we can actually start to visualize what the 2023 Winter Village is going to look like, but there are a lot of things to factor in. The fun, but also the challenge. I think the biggest challenge of this is going to be the train. I still haven't decided what I'm going to do with this little tram, or if I'm going to acquire like the Lego holiday train that came out a number of years ago. I think it would be really cool to have the tram running somehow in the Winter Village. The classic one, the tram just went back and forth on the road, which is pretty neat, but in order to do that, you just have to pretty much move it by hand back and forth, because I don't know how those old power functions work, and I don't have those old power functions that would operate things like monorails and trams. Because what would happen is, I think it's like a sensor or something, you put it on the end of the track there, and you put one on the end of the track over there, and when it hits the sensor, it goes back and forth. That would be ideal. Maybe I need to look into getting some of those power functions and finding out how that actually works. And then I could set up the tram in the foreground of the road right here and have it go back and forth, because of course the strip of buildings is going to be along the back there, and our ski hill is going to be over there. Or what I could do is try and make a circuit for the tram. And that circuit can only fit here. Of course, these turns can't fit on a 15-inch base plate. Like, I can't have the circuit run the entirety of the Winter Village. So if I want to do some sort of circuit, it has to be over here. And what I could do is have that circuit go underneath the mountain, like underneath Santa Claus's mountain, and go around like that. And that would be pretty cool. It is definitely doable. And also another thing that I could potentially do is put a switch track right here, so that the train or tram can go that way and service the remainder of the winter village. I could definitely do that. However, it's not as easy as just doing that, because we've got to remember that I'm going to build a giant mountain here, and the train track pretty much comes right to the edge of the 48 by 48 plate. There's 4 studs on this side and 4 studs on that side. So the issue is when this goes underneath the mountain, that's not going to leave me a huge amount of space for building my cliff edge or the tunnel that train goes into. It's doable, but it's going to be rather difficult. Also, I was planning on building a structure under there using the IKEA boxes. So if I were to use these IKEA boxes to create that structure, I'd also have to bear that in mind. For example, if this large box, or if multiple of these large boxes were in here, I've got to make sure that there's space for the track to get around those boxes. So I think the most difficult thing about coming up with this layout is definitely the train. If I want to add the train, I think the best thing to do would be to get the power functions. But once again, I have no idea. Oh, there's some roads down there. That's cool. But I have no idea how to make that happen. I would love to have a circuit as well. I think that would be super cool. It does gobble up a lot of space, and it makes it difficult to build, well, more difficult to build this mountain than not having it, but it adds a lot of life. If that train could be just ripping around the circuit, I think that would be super neat. So what I need to do in regards to space now is I need to go through and just start laying some of these buildings. So take them off my table over here. Isn't this cool though? Yeah, that's super cool. Hey, seeing them all clustered together like that. But I need to sort of space all of these out along the back row and over there as well to see if I have space to justify giving this much space to a train track, because that curve there takes up a huge amount of studs. Like, it's actually crazy. Plus, you have to work with the curve as it goes with the road. And I also need to decide if I want to have a road that comes over here and does a pull around. Do I want that? I don't know. I think I'm going to build the road using the 16 by 16 plates just because I have them. I don't have enough slopes to justify building the slope road again, because it would only be a small section. Plus, I need those slopes for the larger mountain. But I think I'll be able to build a really neat road here with the use of white wedge plates, just like I did in the previous layout. So based on this layout, it seems like the train track might fit. And look at this, a ski hill at its finest. Yeah, that's sort of how big it'll be though. And I'm sure like there'll be a steep slope, like a black diamond and a blue run, and I don't know, maybe a green run or whatever it may be, right? Now I've left a spot open right here for the Winter Chalet Bricklink Designer Program set. That's how wide it is approximately. It should fit there. I've got the extension of the road because maybe there should be some sort of like pull-in for parking or a turnaround spot to drop people off at the ski slope. Now I'm thinking, don't mark my words on this, but there's a gondola in this set, and I'm thinking I might be able to replicate that design for the ski slope, so people will actually have a way to get up rather than hiking. I for sure don't like hiking when I'm snowboarding, so probably we need some sort of gondola or chairlift or whatever it may be. I'd imagine a chairlift will be very difficult to build, and I've never built one before, but there's got to be something there. And with the tram line here, and then the road, and then the buildings, we've got enough space for a sidewalk. The issue is, if I complete the back of these buildings, they take up more space. So I don't know if there's enough space to complete the back of these buildings. These ones I definitely could, because these are super narrow. But some of these ones that are pretty wide already, it's going to gobble up the space for a sidewalk. But my roads don't need to be 16 studs, I don't think. I mean, they technically should, because it's two-way traffic. So that's another issue with the tram line. It takes up 8 studs of space of 48. So it's a pretty big percentage. So you can see the circuit here would flow underneath the mountain and then turn around and come out. And I've got a little bit of space here, but there is a little bit of space right here that's excess. So maybe where the train track is, and I need to create that clearance for this tram, I can actually build the rocks out off the base plate. I wanted to keep it on the base plate, but if there's like a couple rock panels or like maybe 2 on this side and a few on this side here that come off, it's not the end of the world, right? And then I've put the elf clubhouses here. There's 2 of them. I'm not sure if I'm going to build like an alt build of one of them, or if I'm going to use the parts from both sets to build a mega clubhouse. And then I've got Santa's workshop up there, which is pretty small. Should be upgraded, but I sort of want to keep that set like original. But maybe that's one that I can try and double. Haven't quite decided yet. Then I've got the Alpine Lodge. That will most likely be in like a forested area by the skating rink. And then I've got Hogsmeade over here. I might move Hogsmeade back over here with all of the other buildings and then move the gingerbread house over there. We're also going to have some space on the edge over there too, which is pretty neat, like that corner. And if I do run with the train lines, another problem is I have to figure out how to transition the road over top of the curve, because there's not really a straight spot, just because those curves take up so much space. But there we go. That is the base layout for the Winter Village and the deconstruction of last year's version. Lots of stuff to think about here. The next thing I need to do is pretty much Mills plate these plates here. So give them a white edge and then lay all the colorful bricks underneath and put all the white plate on top, and then start working on the road and the train track. And the mountain is going to be the biggest project. It's going to be a huge mountain, which will take a ton of parts and a lot of trial and error and planning if the train is in fact going to go underneath it. I'm not 100% sold on it, so make sure you let me know what you think by commenting below. Thank you so much for coming on by. I hope you enjoyed this update. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff, and have yourselves a fantastic day. Farewell!